Hello and welcome to -4 points. This week, it's been a tough week. It has been a tough week. Last game week was pretty much all came down to, did you captain Salah or did you not captain Salah? And as someone who was taking a little bit of a risk last week, took a -4 to bring in Havertz and captained Havertz, and he did not return. It was a very painful week, one of the worst weeks in FPL I can ever remember having. So we're going to be talking about reviewing last week, reviewing how the Havertz captaincy failed, seeing what we're going to do to pick up some points going forward, and basically trying to stay positive, remembering it's just a fun game, and moving on from the Salah captaincy disaster that was last week. So speaking of that disaster, let's get it out of the way. Let's review last week's horror show, which was game week 9. Oh dear, so here it is. Here's game week 9. Now, most weeks, 65 points, I'd be saying, that's a respectable score, 65 points. I'm usually happy with that kind of amount, but I mean, you look at my team and you see Salah got 24 points and I didn't captain him. So people that did captain Salah basically got almost another game week score added. They basically got double the score I got. So my rank dropped massively. I was pushing into the 100k. I was looking good in my mini leagues. It was looking good, and all of a sudden 1 week and it's a huge drop down just because I didn't captain Salah. I mean, the rest of my team was pretty much the same as other people. It seemed like, unless you had Mason Mount, who got a hat trick, but I didn't see that many people having Mason Mount. So and the painful thing is, I took a -4 points to bring in Havertz and captain him. Another painful thing was it was Norwich at home. Another painful thing was every other Chelsea player returned. He's the only one who blanked, playing as the striker, and he was the one who I captained. And I know a lot of people also did the same thing, and it was a harsh lesson for all of us, because away to Man United, we were thinking, okay, Salah's going to be our captain most weeks, but this is one of the rare weeks where you could not captain Salah and go for someone who has Norwich at home. And it's not like this is a team like a mid-table Premier League team. This is a team, Chelsea, who are top of the league. So you're captaining a player who's going to be playing up front for the top of the league team at home to Norwich, who are bottom of the league. You couldn't get a more worth risk that you should be taking, but FPL doesn't play by the rules, and it's a harsh lesson. And like a lot of other people, I'm now in the boat where it's like, okay, Salah's captain every week. That's it. Perma-captain. We haven't had a perma-captain for a few years. I feel like I've been playing FPL for a lot of years, and back in the days of, I think, Robin van Persie and Gareth Bale, I feel like those were players that I maybe perma-captained, and there hasn't been one in a while. But now I think Salah, you have to captain him every game, and it's a little bit boring because we're all going to be having Salah as captain now until he goes to the AFCON. And maybe there's a few weeks where you think, okay, I won't captain Salah this week. I'll go for someone like Kane or Ronaldo or Lukaku if they have a really good game. But it'll just be like this week, surely. I've been hurt by this last game week 9 so bad. I don't know if I can captain anyone else this season. So looking at my team, I've written Christensen on the Livramento's picture. You'll have to ignore that. But that is Livramento, came in with 9 points. Happy with that. Trent with 10, Diaz with 2, wasn't so great, especially because their goal, I thought VAR would have disallowed it being offside and he would have got a clean sheet, but never mind. The rest of the team looks okay. Ronaldo was in the team again. I didn't want to have Ronaldo in the team. I had made Diaz and Havertz my transfers last week, so Ronaldo stuck around, and I think he's going to stick around again this week. And Man United look terrible, and I'm not happy with Ronaldo in my team, but you've got to pick your fires, and I'm sick of taking -4 point hits, so I just can't keep doing that because it's not working. I took a -4 point hit last week and it didn't pay off. So I think I'm just going to try and stick to no hits for a while. So yeah, that was my game week 9. Wasn't the greatest week, but we move forward. We go on. It's still early. It's still only been 10 weeks. There's still a lot more to go. If I can keep my squad in a good, healthy shape, captain Salah from now on, I should be able to keep working my way back up those ranks. So let's take a look at the players who are on my watch list who haven't quite made my team, but they're players I'm thinking of or that I want to bring in, but I'm doing another transfer this week, so I can't. So these are the 5 players that are on my watch list. Here they are. It's the watch list. The first one is Broha. I think that's how you pronounce it. He's on loan from Chelsea at Southampton. He's starting to get games. He looks lively, and the one thing I'm waiting for is just to see if he is cemented as first team, because they did have Che Adams, who was injured and then came back, and Armstrong. You'd think Armstrong would be first choice. He was for a bit, and I don't know what's happening there. So I'm just keeping my eye on it. But if he nails down that first team place, he at that price, he can be the cheap striker. He can enable other transfers. He can just be on the bench some weeks, or if they have a good fixture, you could play him. So he's a player who I'd like to have brought in this week, but I couldn't. So I'm keeping an eye on him, hoping he gets that first team place, and then looking to bring him in the future. Son is another one. His price, I think, is due to go up again before the next game week deadline. I'm not getting him yet, although I see a lot of people are getting him ahead of their good fixture run. They do have a good fixture run coming in a week or two. I'm just waiting until that run. I'm not going to get him early. I think if it's 10, even if he goes up to, say, 10.4, I'll just pay the 10.4 and have him for the easy run. I just think, and also there's a little doubt in my mind still about Kane or Son, but I think from last week where Kane didn't look lively at all, and Son always looks lively and is cheaper, I think Son will be now the one I go for. So it could have been this week if I didn't do other transfers, because they do have Manchester United at home, and Man United could be a wounded animal and Spurs could take advantage of that. But then again, a little part of me is thinking, surely we see a reaction from Man United. Surely they can't be as bad as they were against Liverpool. So I think for that reason, they could just defend, and it could be hard for Son to get points this week. So I'd like to have brought in Son this week, but it's not the end of the world for me. I'll bring him in later in the future. Benteke is another interesting one. I think Palace have surprised everyone this season, and there are a few attacking options that I'm sort of looking at. I don't think defensively they seem that solid, so you don't really need to be considering defenders, I think. But Gallagher started the season well, still looks a lively player. You've got Zaha, who's always a threat. You've got Benteke. You've got the new signing, Edouard. I'm just keeping my eye on Palace and seeing who's the standout, because at the moment it does seem a bit like they're all taking turns at getting the points, rather than there being that one Palace player who is the points getter. It would be great if it was Benteke, because at that price, he'd be a great option to have, but I'm just waiting to see. The same way with the next player on the list, Daka at Leicester. I'm holding off getting Vardy just because I think Iheanacho and Daka both look lively. And recently, Leicester have been playing 4-4-2. So with the two strikers, you could go for one of the other ones. So I've had my eye for a while now on not getting Vardy and going for one of the cheaper ones. I'm hoping it's Daka because he looks exciting and explosive, but I'm just waiting to see. It could be Iheanacho, and Leicester do have good fixtures as well coming up later. So I'm giving them a few weeks before their good fixtures just to work out who it is. I think they've got Arsenal next, and they've got Chelsea coming up in the near future. So their fixtures aren't that great. I have seen people possibly thinking of taking Vardy out now, but that's one I'm keeping an eye on. And another one is Gabriel Jesus. Now, I'm still not made up about him because he's a striker in the game playing midfield. Now, that's a bad thing. You never want to do it that way around. You want midfielders who play as strikers. So that puts me off getting him. But he does seem to be playing a lot of games, and under Pep, that's a rare thing. So any Man City asset who's playing regularly is worth considering. So that kind of almost makes it worth it. It makes it worth it maybe to get Jesus. The other player who is Foden. So the two of them I'd like. But Jesus is also a good differential. Not a lot of people have him. And at that price, he could almost replace, I've still got Ronaldo in my team. And I'm looking at strikers that aren't that cheap, so I can keep some money in that position. So Jesus could be an option. He's one I'm looking at. I think they've got a good fixture this week, but then they've got 3 tricky-ish fixtures, but it's Man City. So if he has a storming week this week, I'll probably be looking to get him in up front next week. So that's my watch list. Those are the 5 players that I'm keeping my eye on. None of them made it. I'm still close. I could do another transfer. On the deadline day, I could do another transfer. I'm tempted. Son and Jesus. I'm tempted to bring in one of them, possibly Foden, but I'm holding off. I'm trying to be sensible. So let's have a look at the one transfer I did do this week, and let's have a look at my team that I'm going to be going into game week 10 with. So this is my team for game week 10. The one transfer I've done is Chilwell in for Christensen. I've seen that there's a lot of people having problems this week with injuries. I had Christensen, Rafinha, and Tierney all as injury doubts. So I thought it made sense for me to take out one of them, even though all three of them could play. I think I'm trying to be sensible here and do damage limitations. So Rafinha and Tierney are still injury doubts. We don't know, I think, until Friday afternoon if they're going to be playing. But Christensen was an injury doubt, and also Chilwell is looking like he's nailed down that left back spot now. And I think it was a good time for me to. I don't think of it as too much of a sideways move because Christensen was injured, and Christensen has missed a few games now and doesn't look as nailed on as I was hoping. So I think it's a good time this week to get out Christensen, get Chilwell in. Does make my defence look very solid. I think you need a Liverpool, a Man City, and a Chelsea, and I've got that. Livermento's a great backup. Tierney also is a great backup. He's got Leicester away, so I've benched Tierney this week. And Livermento, who has Watford, that should be a good game. Livermento scored last week. He's looking attacking, so I'm happy with my defence. Sanchez in goal, I'm not that happy with. Liverpool away is going to be a tricky game. I don't expect a clean sheet from him. But last week he had Man City, and he got 4 points because he made so many saves. So I'm hoping again that I'm not expecting a clean sheet, but if he makes a lot of saves, I'll take 3 or 4 points from Sanchez. That would be great. In midfield, Salah's captain. Lesson learned. There's a naughty voice in the back of my head going, well, Havertz does have Newcastle. That's a very easy fixture. Havertz at Newcastle, but lesson learned. Salah captain, Trent vice captain. We're keeping it in Liverpool. We're staying on Liverpool for the foreseeable future. So Salah captain. Rafinha's injury doubt. I really hope Rafinha does play because Norwich could be a great game for him. But if we get news later saying that the injury is serious, I could also take Rafinha out because I've done one transfer so far and I'd like to keep it like this. You'll have to follow me on Twitter to see what I do, my final team on the deadline. But this is the team for now. I'm tempted to do another transfer. There's 3 players that I want to bring in. Son, Jesus and Foden. They're the 3 players that I would like to bring in this week. And Rafinha for Foden could be a great move. But that's only if he's injured for a while. I think Leeds haven't looked good, but if he plays, he's still their best attacking threat. And Gray and Havertz are my other 2. So they're sticking in the team now. Ronaldo's up front again. I'd like to take Ronaldo out, but it would be maybe for Jesus, but I'm not fully convinced on that. And I don't really want to do a -4 for a player that I'm not fully convinced on. So Ronaldo's staying again. And my logic is that not a lot of people have him anymore. I'm not seeing Ronaldo in many teams. So he's almost becoming my differential. So if Man United do bounce back, if they have a reaction, I'm really banking on Ole somehow. I know it's crazy, but that's my strategy now. This is my risk. I have to take a risk this week to kind of catch up on some points. So if Ronaldo holds, if Ronaldo gets, say, 2 goals, it'd be amazing because not a lot of people have him. I would have him, so it would be good. And Tottenham's defence hasn't been great. So everyone is saying, yeah, don't have any Man United players right now. They're all over the place. But Tottenham's defence hasn't been great. And this is still Cristiano Ronaldo we're talking about, who has had a week's rest. They didn't play in the Carabao Cup, so you know, I'm hoping for the better Ronaldo. And Tony at Burnley, it's a good game. On the bench, I've got Gelhardt as my first sub this week. Now, he was my 4.5 striker who was never getting any games. And last week, he got an assist because he came off the bench and won a penalty. So if Bamford's still injured, if Rafinha's still injured, I'm hoping maybe Gelhardt gets a few more minutes. So he's my number 1 sub, mainly because Tierney has a tricky game and Allen isn't really great. So that's my bench. That's my team. I've still got 3.2 million in the bank, which is why I'm tempted to do another transfer. I could always upgrade someone. If any of the injuries turn out to be much more serious than we thought, I could do another transfer. But for now, I'm being sensible. We're trying to get over last week. We've got Salah as captain. It's a fairly good team. We're hoping for something miraculous from Man United and Ronaldo. And otherwise, that's how I'm going in for game week 10. Let me know how crazy you think it is that I still have Ronaldo in the comments. Follow me on Twitter at -4 points. And good luck with all of your game week 10s.